This conference will now be recorded.
All right, guys, we've got a few more people joined in now, so I'll just sort of get started, and I'm sure there'll be a few more people joining before we actually start showing anything. So welcome to week 7 of my weekly webinar series. Today we're going to look at the eXtreme edition features, so everything that's in the eXtreme version that's not in all the other versions. So my name's Alex Butcher, I'm a sales and technical consultant at Advanced Spatial Technologies. So a bit of an introduction to us. We are a Bluebeam Platinum partner for the Australia and New Zealand region. We're an Autodesk partner specialising in the AEC industries across Australia. We're an FM systems master reseller, Dropbox for business, backup software, GoFMX. And we also provide hardware for Dell, HP, and Lenovo. And then we have a training and professional services division in CAD West Bureau. As always, if you guys have any issues or problems you're having with drawings that you want me to go through in the following week, feel free to send them through at any point to me at alex@advancedspatial.com.au. Just give me an explanation of your issue in a file to work with, and I'll go through the problem and answer in next week's webinar. Cool. Just if you guys could just keep your microphones muted for now, just while we're going through, otherwise there's a lot of feedback and background noise. But yeah, cool. So where can you find help? So if you guys ever need help, reach out to me, alex@advancedspatial.com.au. Give us a call, 1300 672 888. You can always find it in the help menu inside Bluebeam, and the help and watch review tutorials, which I will go through where to find those again as usual once we open up Bluebeam. So the lessons we're going to go through today, I'm just going to show you basically what's included in the eXtreme edition. So I'll go through how to use a couple of these. The batch features we probably won't go through too much in detail today because that's in next week's mostly. But first we're going to go through quantity link to Excel. We're going to go through OCR recognition to recognize text and scan documents. We're going to go into automatic form creation, so creating form fields automatically. And then we're going to have just a quick look at what the batch features are and what's available in there. As always, guys, if you have any questions throughout the session, feel free to drop them in the chat box, or at the end we'll have a section where you guys can ask questions if you want to. So you can feel free to unmute yourselves then and ask any questions if you have any, or just put them in the chat box as always if you don't have a microphone. So, as I said before, guys, can you just keep your microphones muted? I have a couple of people just continue unmuting yourselves, and it's quite hard to focus as all the feedback comes through. So yeah, if you could keep them muted, that'd be really good. So I'm just going to open up a drawing really quickly. So we're just going to work with this one today. So the first thing I'm going to go through is the quantity link to Excel. So just give me a couple of seconds. I'm just going to open up my Excel sheet as well. And get to that in a second. So the first step is obviously to create some measurements. So I'm just going to work with some ones that I've created in the previous weeks. So for this example, we're just going to use the carpet type A, and we're going to use the carpet type B. For this, it's really, really important to subject and label your measurements. Otherwise, you can't pick up the correct measurements when you bring it across to Excel. So the first thing I'm going to do is just draw a couple of measurements. So I'm going to put a couple of type A measurements. And then we're going to do a couple of type B as well. Cool. So we've got a few measurements on the drawing now. So as you can see in the properties as well, I've got them subject as carpet and label as type A, and then the same with the type B. So the next step for here to then is to bring it across to Excel. So before we do that, we need to save the drawing. So I'm just going to save this as something else. And let's just go put QL on the end. Cool. So we've got that saved now. Now, what we do is we come across to our Excel document. And you can see I've got just a basic table set up here. So I've got the total area of my type A carpets with the units there, and then a formula which has the cost of the type A times by the area, and then the cost of the type B times by the area. So first thing we need to do is go into the field where we're going to bring the area into. And I'm going to right click that field, and then this quantity link button will pop up. And you can see it says create once you hover over it. So we click that. The first step here is to bring the files in that we need to link to this. So I'm going to go to add, and then I'm just going to find that file that I just saved, which is this one here. And I'm going to hit open. And loads it into Excel for me. Then I'm going to hit OK. Then it's going to pop up with this window where we're going to create the link. So we're going to get the total of the area, and it's going to be of label type. And then we're just going to hit OK. And it brings that value in for me. And then I'm going to go to type B and do the same. However, this time I don't need to bring the file in because I've already loaded it in. I'm just going to hit measurement and then area, and then label and type B. And OK. And then that brings my type B in. Now, the next thing in here, so let me just close these down so we can see the drawing a bit better. So you can see it's picked up the total measurement. If I go into my markup list and I've got my type A, my total measurement of the area is 24.23 square meters, and that's what's picked it up in there. And then the same with the type B. And the cool thing about this as well is it's dynamic. So if I go into my tool chest and just pick up my type A again, and I just start drawing areas, if you watch the total area in the Excel sheet, it goes up as I add these. So we're now at 60.31 and so on and so forth. And then the same with the type B. So that's the quantity link basically. There isn't really much more to that. It's really, really helpful if you've got all of these sort of Excel sheets set up that you use for estimating. I have a lot of people that literally buy the eXtreme edition just for that feature because they've got just so many formulas set up in their quoting sheets that they then use the quantity link to get all of their measurements and bring them across. It makes their life so much easier. It's a lot more accurate than adding it all up yourself and transferring it. And it's so much quicker as well. So that's the quantity link feature there. So next one we're going to do is just the OCR recognition. So I'm just going to close out of this for now. And let's just bring Bluebeam back to the full size. Cool. So I'm just going to close this one as well. And I'm going to open up this. Cool. So this here is just a scanned document. It's just the lessons that we're going through today, but I printed it out and scanned it back in just to show you as an example. So if I try and select the text right now, I can't select anything. Nothing is searchable. Like if I search for quantity, it's not going to pick anything up. So what I can do is run what's called OCR Recognition, which is ocular character recognition, which will basically pick up the scanned text as text. So you can search it, you can select it. So it's under batch and then OCR. And it pops up this window. I don't usually mess around with the settings very much, but you can play with them as well. If you did select vertical text, it would select find text that's on a separate sort of scale. Hit OK though, and it just runs the OCR recognition process. Because there's not much text, it didn't take very long, which is good. But now, if I go to select text, I can actually select that text that I've recognized, which is pretty cool. So I can select all of that. I can now search for it as well. So let's say I want to search for batch, and it picks up that for me. So that's really helpful. There's a few different things that can be really good for. So one example is when you've got, let's say, a big set of drawings that's been scanned in. Also, it's really helpful. Sometimes when drawings come from programs like AutoCAD, the font is, it's not a recognized font by most programs. And what happens is if you get to try to create links to other sort of drawings and things like that, it won't pick up that text in there. So if you run OCR on it first, it then picks up that text and you can create links to other drawings and that kind of stuff. that's the OCR recognition. The next thing I want to show you guys is the automatic form creation. And so I'm just going to open up this sample form that I've got here. Cool. So we've got a basic sort of form here. It's just got a few different fields that we need to create form fields for. Now, we can do that manually, so I can open up the Forms tab, and I can create form fields where sorry, so we can just create a text. We can say put it around today's date, and we can call that today's date, for example. But it's going to take quite a while to do that. So what we have is called the automatic form creation tool. So let me just delete that. Delete. And I'm just going to go to tools and form and automatically create form fields. And goes through, scans them, and then it picks up all of these different form fields in there. It picks up the title that's next to them as well, so it labels them all for you. It even picks up that this is a signature field, so it will only let me put a digital signature in there. So if I go to click in there, lets me put a digital signature, and the same with all of these as well. So if I go to click in here, right, with the date, and I try to put text in there, it says error, please ensure that the date or time exists. So it will only let me put a date and time in there. And the same with all of these sorts of things. So this will let me put whatever I want because it's just a description or text. So yeah, that's basically the digital signatures there and the automatically creating form fields to do that. It's not a perfect feature as well. It doesn't work 100% on every form, but it will give you a massive head start if you've got a lot of fields. Some forms it just doesn't pick up certain things for some reason. But yeah, it really does make a massive difference and things a lot quicker. Particularly if you're sending out a lot of forms. A lot of companies have this as just their administration license, so that the person who's doing all the administration of forms and that kind of stuff can create all of this stuff, and it saves them so much time. It allows people to just fill things out digitally, send it back, and it helps things get sort of done a lot quicker. So that is the automatic form creation. The last thing that's included in the eXtreme edition that's not included in the rest, I'm just going to put something up so we can have a look at this. So the last thing is just all of the batch features. So basically anything that can be done in the document menu, most of these things can then be done in a batch. So what it means is you can do it to multiple different documents at the same time. So if I've got, let's say, 10 different documents open, all different drawings that I've done markups on, and I need to flatten them all and send them all to someone, I can go to the batch and flatten markups, and then I can add in, say I've got them all open, I could add in all the open files, or you could add in a whole folder, or whatever you want to do, or just select from your list as well. And you can do it all to all of those documents at once without having to sort of manually do the process multiple times. Same thing, you can do it with compare documents. I'm going to go through slip sheeting next week, so I won't go through that mostly today. You can also create links. So that's again, I think in next week's one as well with the set. So we'll do that next week as well. But it's more just about today, just kind of showing you what's there. So pretty much anything that you can do in the document menu, you can do to multiple different things. So it's really good if you're dealing with lots of drawings. Most people find that it's not unless you're working on really big projects that those features really come in handy. But like I say, if you do deal with a lot of documents, they can be really helpful. So that's pretty much it for today, guys. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. It's a bit of a shorter one today, but yeah, I'll hang around for a little while, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or drop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them. It doesn't have to be about those features, it could be anything as well. Yeah, just let me know, we can go through it. custom team knots. Just give me 1 second. I'll just grab the YouTube link for you and I'll drop it in the chat box. Just give me 2 seconds. We've got a playlist going with them all on there, so you can find them all in there. So that is the link to the playlist with them all in there. If anyone wants to grab that from the chat box, feel free. Or if you just search Advanced Spatial Technologies, you'll find our YouTube on there as well. You can always find them there if you lose the link. Any other questions from anyone? No worries, Glenn. Thanks for coming again. No problem, Lloyd. Thanks for coming, guys. If anyone thinks of any questions after as well that you get to ask now, feel free to reach out to me. It's just alex@advancedspatial.com.au. I'm always happy to help. If anyone has a look at these and thinks about upgrading to the eXtreme version, let me know as well, and we can look at how that's possible and what the costs are and that kind of stuff. I'm more than happy to help you guys. So particularly probably the biggest things that most people use it for are the OCR, quantity link, and automatic form creation, I find. So yeah, my Bluebeam version, Oliver, is review 2019.1.16, and it's the eXtreme edition. So this is the newest one that's out at the moment. We're waiting for another update to hopefully fix a few bugs that have popped up that I've noticed, but shouldn't be too far away. They're not major ones, but there is a couple, particularly compatibility with Chrome at the moment. So yeah, if you're on one of the older versions, you may have a little bit different interface than mine, but the sort of principles are all the same. If you're on 2017 or before, you have the command bar up here. So all of these menus drop down the command bar instead of dropping down a menu like this, basically. So that's the only real difference. If you can't find batch in there, the reason is you're probably either on the standard or CAD edition. You'll only find that batch menu if you're on the eXtreme edition. Basically, the way it works is standard will just have the basic features, so it won't have batch and it won't have those sorts of things. The CAD edition will have all of the things that are in standard plus the CAD plugins, so plugins for AutoCAD, Revit, SolidWorks, Navisworks, and Revit. Not sure if I said that. And then the eXtreme edition will have all of the batch features and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you're not seeing them, it's because you don't have the eXtreme edition, basically. And if you're in the 2017 version, the way to check is it's under help. It'll be help, and then you'll pop up with the about section in here. You should be able to have a look in there. Any other questions, guys? Thanks, Brad. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it. So if anyone else thinks of any questions after, feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, jump on, watch the earlier ones if you haven't seen them so far. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you think of any questions or need any assistance, just let me know. This will be uploaded to that YouTube playlist later today as well. So feel free to go back and check if you forget how to do anything. And yeah, thanks for coming, guys. We'll see you next week.